Hey there. So today I want to talk to you as patrons. This is a Patreon exclusive. And what I want to do is talk about industrial psychology or organizational psychology, essentially bringing consumers in and playing them. Now, why do we talk about these things? Well, the companies that we discuss, they are very good at that. When you think about Disney, for example, you think about the mouse. I've talked about this in other videos, but why do people love the mouse? I mean, Mickey, why do they love that thing? We don't see products after we're a certain age, but why do people seem drawn to it? It's a corporate logo, and yet people wear it around on their heads like mouse ears. They go out, they buy shirts and overpriced memorabilia. They go and celebrate it. They give billions to that company. Why do they do that? Well, they're basically driven to do that by selective advertisement, keyed things that play off of your urges to go out and to remember things a certain way, to remember them fondly, everything from scent to color, just depending on where you are and how you pick that up. It's quite amazing when you see that. Now, the reason I talk about that is because we see a lot of people that are daily convinced that the mouse out there, that's their friend, the giant corporation out there that you're talking about. You are the bad guy within discussions, whether that be about Star Wars or whether that be about comic books. You are the monster and the corporation is the little guy. Now, how do you get to that point? Well, the corporation out there, it speaks to consumers in a language like you see here. There are so many things within something like this where you have, again, an article that is basically an advertisement. But what it's advertising in here, you have to ask yourself, like when you look at this, what is it trying to sell you? So a 29-year-old bought a $60,000 Tesla with a credit card and earned an estimated $5,000 in rewards. Now you can tell that this is not a legit thing. If you really think about that, this could happen, sure, but this is not something that is trying to bring you news. I mean, just talking about some random person out there doing this, why would that actually make one of the top 5 stories that hits somebody? Well, simply, it's trying to advertise a product. This is not illegal either. In fact, there is a lot of advertisement that has never been illegal. Even these days, pricing propaganda, U.S. propaganda, talking about things, that's not actually illegal anymore. That's one of the things that has been recently overturned within the last year. You can advertise anything, be it company, be it propaganda, and on. When you look at this, too, and you look at the way that this sets up and the wording, they're talking about how this person went in, they went in with their family or their wife here in that case. They bought a Tesla Model 3 for this price, and how they did it. Now, what they do within this, too, I think they're good about it because they hide certain things. By law, they need to say certain things about, using certain items responsibly, so they make that statement, making it sound like it comes from somebody. They tell you how they supposedly gamed the system and on. Now, when you listen to this, what is it trying to sell you? Now, obviously, it's trying to induce you to use a credit card. But what it's trying to sell you is not a credit card. It's not a Tesla. None of that. It's trying to sell you a lifestyle brand. Everything within pictures, everything within wording and verbiage, it's there to entice you. People respond to certain colors. They respond to certain cues within people standing and so on. This is all set up. I mean, think about the landscape within it. Think about the people, again, and what they symbolize here. Picking up that new item, it's easily replaceable, whether that be a car or what have you. Again, lifestyle brand. When you think about branding within that too, think about other things that are lifestyle branded. For example, Black Panther is a good one. I talked about that for a while, and people actually get upset about that movie. They want to go and they want to defend it. Why? Because they think in some way it connects or resonates with them. Now, some people want to go out and defend it as a superhero brand. Some people want to go out and defend it as more. I mean, when you look at the spin on it and the way that it was sold, for example, I've talked about this within videos talking about how the heads of Disney discussed it with certain buzzwords. But think about how places like the Washington Post talked about it. They discussed a cultural touchstone. They talked about it as the first movie for a specific audience. So when you think about that, again, it becomes more than that associated item. It becomes associated branding with a lifestyle. Now that is something that we're seeing more and more with comic books. We see things, especially blowback, associated not with items, but associated with lifestyle. That way, when you go out and you talk about something, you are not talking about a product. You are talking about the people that want it there. You're talking about lifestyle. You are also talking about with the casual consumer that hears all of this relation, saying that, marginalized comes up or certain people identify with it. Now, you're no longer going out and talking about an item. You want to return to a certain place. You're talking about denying people a lifestyle that they've worked hard for. So you see how this kind of stuff, it permeates every field out there. And when we're talking about comic books or we're trying to evoke change, there's this hurdle within it. There's this hurdle of people where they buy in to marketing just like this, only they do it in every field imaginable. Now, I thought this would be interesting to at least talk about a little bit because people don't think about it that way. They think that businesses are just in it for money, and they are, but they think about them bringing a product to a table, and they think about the advertisement for that being pretty straightforward, when it's more than that. It's so much more. When you look at the sublime or the subtle within advertisement, it cues in. It makes itself part of a person's life. That way it's harder to detach from. I mean, as comic book consumers, a lot of people already understand that. Or as people who love Star Wars or so on, you've already had that branded to you. So, I mean, when you think about the way that things are going out now, trying to rebrand within current year, you can see how that branding, you can see past that branding because, well, you've already seen the product in a different light. And maybe that wakes people up to exactly what's transpiring. Anyhow, I'm curious about what people think about this. Again, this is Patreon exclusive. It's just an idea I want to throw out there and discuss. This is more organizational or, again, industrial psychology at play. I always enjoyed that. In fact, I thought about going into a career with that, studied it quite a bit. Basically the manipulation of an audience. How do you go out and build the better consumer mousetrap? I looked at that for a while. I did thesis work on it. It was very interesting. And ultimately, when you look at products and you look at the sales, you'll never look at them again the same. But anyhow, tell me what you think about this kind of stuff. I appreciate it. And thanks for backing the channel for sure. Thank you.